Good morning, wonderful people. At least it's morning here for me. I am out in the beautiful piney woods of East Texas. It's me and the kids, and we are having a wonderful camping adventure all week long this week. So I did not want to film the entire camping trip because I really just wanted to be here in the moment with the kids and just really enjoy myself and take a break, a much needed break for myself. But I didn't want you guys to go without a video here on Thursday. So today I'm going to tell you the story of how I met my husband. My name is Collab, by the way. This is Jar of Fireflies, and here you will find videos all about my life as an Orthodox Jewish homeschooling mother of 3. Okay, so I don't have my tripod with me today on this trip, so I'm sorry that I might be kind of walking around a little bit or just moving around a little bit. So the way that a lot of Jews meet is through a matchmaker. It's something that we do, and I'm happy to dive into that more on a future video. If you're interested, let me know in the comments, and I can get some of my friends on with me and talk to them about how they met through matchmakers and how that whole dating process worked. But for me, I actually met my husband at a Shabbat dinner. So I met my husband about 10 years ago while I was still in the conversion process. So I was well into my conversion process, but I was not finished yet. And I really was definitely not looking to meet anybody because that just kind of complicates things. I didn't want anybody to think that I was converting for a guy, like to get married or because I was married or dating someone or anything like that. It was truly something that I was doing just for myself, and I didn't want to give any appearance of anything otherwise. Okay, so during my conversion process, I moved into a Jewish community. The day that I moved in, I stopped by my rabbi's house and let him know that I was all moved in and getting settled. And he said, great. And he introduced me to one of my new neighbors. And a little bit later on, he set up Shabbat dinner for that week at that neighbor's house. So they were just 2 doors down, which was fantastic. But I was still terribly, terribly nervous. I did not want to go. I was so scared. This was like my first real Shabbat dinner. You know, I was very nervous. I thought of 100 excuses not to go. Like I had a little bit of a headache. I was like, I could roll with this, but I didn't. I showed up. I was like, I'm going to go. I just need to rip the Band-Aid off and have this first Shabbat dinner experience, and it'll make the rest of them so much easier. So I showed up. I rang the doorbell, which is you're not supposed to ring the doorbell on Shabbat. I immediately knocked because I realized my mistake right away. But I was still in my conversion process, so I really didn't do anything wrong. But anyhow, they let me in. I walk inside and I see all the ladies over in the kitchen getting the meal ready. And then I see all these men over in the dining room poring over this book of Gemara. Right in front of the book was my future husband. Didn't know it at the time. But all I could think when I saw him was, that's exactly what I want. I don't know what even it was about him, but that was exactly what I wanted. And I just knew it in that moment that that was exactly what I wanted. And my second thought right after that was, he's probably married with 7 kids already. I'm just not even gonna look at that. So it was a small meal and everybody was kind of chatting together, and it didn't take long for me and my future husband to really start to hit it off. There was just an obvious connection there. Obvious enough that the rabbi whose house we were having our meal at told him in Hebrew, she's not Jewish. So yeah, there was that. I didn't speak any Hebrew at the time, so I did not know what was being said. I was told that little tidbit a couple of years later, I suppose. Now, I definitely did not want to date anybody, for sure. I did not want to complicate my conversion process. I didn't want to give any appearance of converting because I wanted to marry someone or date someone or anything, that I was doing it for any reason other than just for myself, because that was why I was there. My conversion was so close to being done, I just wanted to keep it that way. So while we did continue to see each other at Kiddush after services or at other people's homes for meals, we'd run into each other at Starbucks and we would talk and visit for a little bit. But that had to be it for me. I wasn't going to go and try to pursue anything with him, and he wasn't going to try to really pursue anything with me because I wasn't Jewish. And that was important to him. So then we kind of didn't talk for several months. I didn't see him. He didn't see me. It was just one of those things, we just weren't running into each other. And then I finished my conversion process and that was all done. And then I get a text message from him. And I'm like, what? And he wanted to just say Mazal Tov for my conversion. So that was very nice of him. But I was still kind of okay. So anyways, I was kind of well, that's interesting. But at this point, I was very busy. I just converted. So it was, there were lots of celebration and being with people and telling the story. And it just, there really wasn't time to talk to this guy. It was time to move on from my job in Dallas. So I got a job in California and moved out that direction. I was dating somebody out there. It was pretty serious. And, that was that. However, on the way to California, we ended up breaking up. So that was the end of that. However, I still went to California. I had a job out there. I loved it. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed living in California for that time. During that time, my future husband started to text me here and there. We started talking on the phone a little bit, but he thought that I was still dating somebody. Like, he thought that I was seriously dating somebody. So once he figured out that I was not seriously dating anybody, because at that point, I had broken up with the other guy and I was just kind of dating several people, trying to find a husband. I really wanted to find a husband. So then when my husband discovers that I'm single, he goes, well, but I want to date you. And I said, okay, but I want you to talk to my rabbi first. So my rabbi knows him very, very well. And I wanted to make sure that my rabbi thought that it was a good idea, because I just had this feeling that if we started dating, it was going to get very serious very fast. And I did not want to have my heart broken if my rabbi thought this was a terrible idea, if there was something about this guy that I just didn't know, but he did. So I would feel better if he was just vetted a little bit first. So he goes to our rabbi and he says, I really want to date Hannah. And my rabbi kind of looks for a minute. He goes, I never would have thought of that, but I think that's a great idea. Now, he was still living in Texas and I was living in California. So we made these plans that he was going to come out in a couple weeks and we would go on a date. And then the next month I would go out to Texas and we could go on a date. And then he would come back to California. We would just kind of do this thing. Like, we literally had a plan that we would do this for like 6 months. So what happens in the meantime, though, is that he ends up going back to my rabbi. He booked his flight to come out to see me in California for 2 weeks after we decided we were going to start dating. And then he goes back to my rabbi in between then. And he says, you know what? I don't want to date her. I just want to marry her. And my rabbi is like, whoa, back the truck up. Hold on just a second. Let's talk about this. So they did talk about it. And because we had been chatting on the phone and things like that and texting, we had gotten to know each other, and we also were not young. I was 30, he was 35. So it's not like we didn't know what we wanted out of a partner and out of life and out of a marriage. And we knew already that we had the same goals and values and things as far as that was going. We wanted children, we wanted a Jewish home. We knew enough about each other that we knew that we were compatible in these areas. Once our rabbi realized that, he was like, you know what? Go for it. So my future husband then comes out to California for our first dates, and he brings a ring in his pocket, and he gets there and he proposes. So we were engaged. And then we decided to go ahead and go over to the courthouse and do a civil ceremony, because why not? Let's just get it over with. So we went and did our civil ceremony. Now, because we did our civil ceremony, that doesn't mean that we would act like a married couple. That's not what that means for us. For us, the religious ceremony is what would make us truly married. But having the civil ceremony done meant that I could go ahead and start changing my name and things like that, and just get all that stuff done so that I could focus on the wedding and being married and not have to worry about any of that other stuff. Okay, so we're at the courthouse, we get married, and then we go out to lunch. So that was like our first real date, was going to lunch after we got married. But anyways, after that, I was still living in California. And so I worked with my landlords out there to sublet the house that I was living in and to get back to Texas as quickly as possible so that we could go ahead and get married. It took maybe 3 or 4 months before I was able to get back and get married. And we had a lovely wedding. It was like my big fat Jewish wedding. My husband's family is Moroccan and they were all coming over from Israel. And as much as I wanted a small wedding, they did not. If you guys are interested in seeing wedding pictures, let me know and I can do another video with those. Let me know in the comments. All right, so that's like the basic how we met story and kind of like our dating up until the point of marriage. Now I'm going to get back to my camping trip. We're only about halfway through right now. We're having an absolute blast. But like I said, I wanted to make sure that I still got a video out to you guys on Thursdays, even if it was just a short one. But stay tuned. Do not turn off the video yet. I'm going to include just a little fun footage of our camping trip so that you can see some of this beautiful scenery that I am enjoying this week. All right, so here it is. Thank you so much for watching today, you guys. I super appreciate it. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed and that subscribe button if you haven't already so that I can see you here again. Drop me a comment down below and let me know what you thought of our How We Met story. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in my next upload.